Hi everyone, this is Roncarosqueiro with Neowin, and today we got the Nintendo Switch Lite here. We just got it, it came out today. We got the turquoise model here, and we're going to be taking a look. So right away you can see the box is much smaller than the original Switch, and that's obvious because there's no dock in here, there's no Joy-Con grip. This is really just the console and the charger, so the box is obviously going to be much smaller. So we're gonna open that up and pull it out, and the organization on the inside is also a little different from the first Switch, because the other one felt like it had a little more a purpose. You had the Switch and the Joy-Con laid out in ways that showed them off, and then there was a sort of layered box. Here we really just have the console right away tucked behind this. It is pretty nice, and then in there we have charger and manuals and all that. So there's the charger, which should be about the same as the original Switch. So let's put that away and let's just focus on this. So here we have the Nintendo Switch Lite. I have to say, it doesn't look quite as blue as I thought it would. It has a sort of a greenish tone to it. It's a little different, but it is very pretty nonetheless. At least I like it. And it's also obviously smaller than the original Switch. I actually have mine right here, we can compare. It is definitely not as wide. It's almost basically the same as taking out one of the Joy-Con. It's also a little shorter, I believe. Yeah, it's not as tall either, but the width is actually should be about the same there. So it's smaller in other ways. And of course, another major difference with the Lite is that it does not have the removable Joy-Con. It's just a whole single unit here with it's all plastic, and it also doesn't have a kickstand. So instead you have just a micro SD card slot there, as you did on the original Switch. It was hidden behind the kickstand. Here it's just the SD card slot back here, and looks kind of like the game card slot up there. And then you have everything else is about the same. Headphone jack, you got the grills there, power buttons and volume rockers and everything. The analog sticks feel about the same, I would say. Mine on my original Switch don't offer as much resistance anymore, but that could be just because I've used them so much. These seem to offer a little more resistance, but they feel about the same. They look a little smaller than mine, but that's because I have some rubber grips on my Joy-Con. These are still bare, so they're about the same size, I would say. And the buttons feel very different. If you want to Switch, you know that the buttons on the Switch are very clicky. It's just a very clear clicking point for the original Switch. And here they feel very, very soft. It's really nothing like the original Switch. Only the shoulder buttons here feel about the same, but everything else feels a lot softer when you press them, so it's very, very different. And of course you have the D-pad here, which is actually a D-pad now instead of being the 4 directional buttons that you have on the Switch. That's obviously because this Nintendo wanted the Switch to have these buttons so that when you hold them like so, they're the same layout or very close. And because you can't really remove the controls from the Switch Lite, it doesn't make any sense to have it like that. So you just have a proper D-pad now. And yeah, that's, in terms of design, that's really the major changes there. Everything else is about the same. I don't think this has an ambient light sensor like the Switch has, so it won't adjust the brightness automatically. But aside from that, on the outside, that's about it for design differences. It also won't have some features like the HD rumble There's obviously no IR camera, because if you can't attach the Joy-Con, there's really no point in having an IR camera there. So we're just gonna try to set this up. So now that we've set that up, which took a little longer than I would have liked because I had to install an update before I could link my Nintendo account, but now it's linked. Everything should be working as intended. And you can see that the software is exactly the same. So this comes with the exact same software as the original Switch. Everything is the same. You still have the same two dark themes that are way too limited, but everything is the same. So I linked my Nintendo account. It's worth noting that it doesn't sync my content in any way automatically. So I will need to either insert a card here for this to work, or start installing games from the eShop. What it will do is the saved data that's synced through my Nintendo account, because I have Nintendo Switch Online, that won't be available for me to get. But aside from that, it doesn't really do anything automatically. But it's a little more complicated than it should be, but it's fine. I guess there is a solution. It's just not a very optimal one. But that's about it. That's all there is to the system. It looks exactly the same as the original Switch. It does have a smaller screen, of course. As far as I can tell based on the system though, everything is equally usable. So it's not like you're gonna have any trouble seeing things here. At least not any more than you do on the smaller Switch screen. Everything seems fine. There's really no issue with that. What we'll have to test is if in games that'll be different, because it is possible that some games are using smaller text, something like maybe Zelda Breath of the Wild or other titles may have really small text that may be hard to see on this screen, but really it seems fine. The display looks about the same. Maybe if I put them side by side I can compare a little better. But it seems about the same. So you can see here that it does not have automatic brightness on the smaller Switch. That's a setting that, because there's no brightness ambient light sensor here, so it can't really do that. But the screen does look about the same. The colors are not exactly the same. I would say that the original Switch looks a little darker here. It doesn't. The black seems a little more black than it does on the Switch Lite, but it is not a huge difference. It looks very similar, but there is a small difference there. I don't know if it's better or worse. It's different. I could deal with it, but of course, if you're a little more concerned about it, you'd probably be better off testing it for yourself. But it does look fine to me. And I think that is all there is to it. Of course, you can still connect controllers to this. Even though it has its own built-in ones, you can still do it. It's just not going to be really worth it in most cases, because you don't have a kickstand. You can't even prop up the console normally. You can't connect it to a TV. So there's a lot of limitations here. But you can connect controllers to it if you need to for any reason. Anyway, I think that's everything for this video. We've taken a look at the design. The system is about the same. Everything will look exactly the same here as it does on the regular Switch. We're going to be doing a full review of the Switch Lite, of course, so stay tuned for that. That's all for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.